Matt Johnson with the Wing Chun Self-Defense Academy in Chicago. Little short video about training. I thought I'd take a little break from my training and talk about your training. Because I've gotten a lot of emails and questions, YouTube, Facebook, etc. People asking about training, what I think is important, what do I do, what should they do. You know, really it's hard for me to say what you should do, okay? I can tell you what I do. I don't think there's any one formula. I think that everybody's just got to kind of figure what works for them. There has been a few things I've learned over the years that will really benefit your training. So I'll talk a little bit about that. So if you find something useful, then you can adopt it. If you don't think it's useful, then continue to do what you're doing. So first thing is a little story about training. Okay, there was once a famous Kung Fu master, and he had a lot of students, a lot of followers, and was making a lot of money. The problem is he liked to gamble. So he got to playing Majong and started to spend more and more of his time playing Majong. Even during his class, he'd be in the back room playing Majong with some of the other people, some of the other Kung Fu masters. And this became where he spent his time, playing Majong. And every now and then he would step out into his class, look around and go, oh yes, yes, very good, very good. And then he would go back to playing Majong. So one day he comes out, he decides he wants to do a little training. So he goes to his senior student and they start to do a little exercise, a little sparring, and the senior student defeats him straight away. And the Kung Fu master is very upset by this and really put off. And so he says, wow, this is crazy. How can you beat me so easily? I'm a Kung Fu master and you're my student. Student says, well, Sifu, it's very easy how and why I beat you. Because you spend all of your time doing Mahjong and you don't do your own training. You've now become a Mahjong master and you are no longer a Kung Fu master. So, you kind of get the point, okay? If you're a teacher, you're a professional teacher, a Sifu, you should be training every day, okay? No excuse, all right? You need to keep your skills sharp, okay? Your skills, your Wing Chun is kind of like a toolbox full of tools that you need to keep in good shape. You don't see a carpenter come up to the job and he's broken down tools and saw that don't work and rusty saw blade and wood chisels that are dull, couldn't cut anything, okay? His job would be crap, all right? You can't do good work with crappy tools. So Wing Chun's like that, all right? You have to be sharpening your tools every day. So what things do I think are important? Number one, I think the forms, of course, are important. Don't let anybody tell you forms aren't important, all right? Don't listen to people like that, all right? Chances are they've never learned and practiced the form themselves. The forms is where the Kung Fu is contained. You have to understand them and you have to train them. If you're not training your forms, then your Chi Sao just becomes a bunch of random action. Things, oh, I'll try this, like that. You have no concept, no rhyme or reason why you do what you do, okay? So if you're not training forms, your Chi Sao won't be any good. If your Chi Sao is no good, your sparring won't be any good. If your sparring isn't good, forget about winning a fight. It'll never happen, okay? It all begins with the form. So a lot of times I'll train the forms, repeat them 2-3 times in my training session. I will also break down section by section and isolate certain movements and train certain concepts. For example, in Chun Kyu, I will train the turning section quite a lot and the stepping section. So my stepping stays very compact, very tight. The turning is very solid. And the Yuma and the hands are working together all the time, okay? Then, like another example might be Buji. Like I train the two-directional energy a lot, so I have a lot of speed and power in my lap sao and in my striking. I'll train the concept of the fan sao punching. So, in other words, you don't always just punch 1, 2, but you punch 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. Break up the rhythm. Increase your speed in control of the opponent. And it's very confusing for the opponent to keep up with that kind of speed and broken rhythm timing like that. Also, the wooden dummy, I think, is a really valuable tool. Much more valuable than what most people think. So I train the form, of course, but I do a lot of freestyle training on the dummy because I believe, ultimately, the wooden dummy is a freestyle, free training device. In other words, you learn the form, and then you absorb it, and then you just train freely on the wooden dummy. So you might take, movements from this section and this section and this section and put them together in a different fashion. So you're always examining and looking at how the techniques relate to one another, and you're using your imagination. So, it's better to train, in my opinion, at a high level. It's better to train the wooden dummy in that fashion than to just always follow the form. Okay? So I will do that quite a lot on the wooden dummy. I train the kicking a lot because I think the kicking is really important, and I think a lot of Wing Chun guys don't do enough of it. They only focus on the punching and the striking with the hands. You've got 2 legs, learn to use them, okay? In a fighting situation, it's a game changer when you start kicking, all right? If a guy's a good, powerful fighter up top, kick him in the knee. He can't hit you if he can't stand, okay? And you can run, and he can't run after you. So kicking is very important. You need to train it a lot. I kick the bag, I kick in the air, I kick all the 8 kind of kicking in Wing Chun. I'm always practicing those, so I think it's very important. The pole, I train that form every day. The reason is for the upper body strength and lower body strength that it gives you. It also will increase your long bridge energy and power. I do the Dan Quan exercise, okay, because that will increase your speed and power in your punches. Okay, if you don't know that exercise, you should learn it. You have to do it correctly, of course, because I see on videos of guys doing it incorrectly. Okay, you're going to hurt yourself. All right, you're going to hurt your elbow, you're going to hurt your shoulder, maybe even your neck. All right, so it's important to learn how to do it correctly. Then you'll get the most benefit out of it. So if you don't know, ask your teacher, and hopefully he knows and can teach you the correct way. Okay, so the knife form I train also because it will also increase your long bridge energy and also strengthen the elbow power and the forearm and the wrist, which is really important for fighting. Also in the knife form is contained more advanced footwork that's more useful for fighting. So that's why that form is important, even though you can't, use a set of knives or a long pole. In a practical situation, they still have their benefit in training. So you should be doing that every day. Next thing is running. I run as a warm-up between 3 and 5 miles every day. Okay, I think running is a great exercise. Trains the legs. Burns fat, trains the cardio, okay? So your cardio, you have more lung capacity, you can chi sao longer, you can spar longer. I think it's a great exercise. Get yourself a good pair of running shoes. So the next thing is chi sao. I do a lot of chi sao with my students. Don't listen to people that would tell you that you shouldn't chi sao your students or people below you. That's a lot of BS. Okay? They say that it will bring your level down, okay, if you chi sao. That's what they say, but don't listen to them. One time I asked Sifu Ip Ching about this, about, if I chi sao students too much, will it bring my level down? And his answer was, only if you let it. Chi-saoing your students or people below you will only bring your level down if you let it. Okay? And he said, furthermore, how are your students ever going to get any better if you don't do Chi-sao with them? How are you going to get any better if you're not doing enough Chi-sao? So, I do Chi-sao a lot. I Chi-sao beginners, I Chi-sao intermediate, I Chi-sao the advanced. Okay? I get together with my Kung Fu brothers here in America or in the UK or in Hong Kong as much as I can. And I train a lot with them as well to keep me growing. So I think that's important. Sparring is also important, but don't underestimate what you can learn from Chi-sao, a lot of Chi-sao training. It will train you for fighting, okay? No, Chi-sao itself is not a fight, but it will train all the attributes that you would need to put Wing Chun into use in the street. So you need to be doing a lot of it, okay? Don't just forget about Chi-sao, oh, I just do sparring and stuff like that, right? You have to be training the reaction. You have to be training the timing. All the elements that Chi-sao teach you. Okay, there's 5 major elements that Chi-sao training will give you. Okay, so you need to be doing a lot of that. All of the attributes that you would need to put it into work to work for you on the street are contained in there. So a lot of Chi-sao. And I do weight training. Okay, 2 times a week I will do weight training. Some people are of the opinion that it will hurt your Wing Chun, make you very tight and very tense, okay? Not if you do it correctly, okay? You have to know how to train correctly with the weights, and it's very beneficial. Can make your Wing Chun a lot stronger, a lot more speed, a lot more power, okay? But you need to do it correctly. Understand how to use the weights to advance your, make your Kung Fu better, okay? So how do you do that? Well, I think that's a subject for another video, so I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay? So, the pole, the knives, the form, the wooden dummy, running, weight training. Also, I train for the ging. Okay, the ging is important. Alright? If you don't know what that is, and you don't know how to train for it, well, too bad for you. Okay? Because you're missing a key element in making your Wing Chun have speed and power, okay? I mean, I'm talking about the kind of power that can incapacitate an opponent in 1 strike, which is really what you want, okay? You want to end a fight very fast, very quick, 2-3 strikes, okay? You don't want to drag on with a fight, okay? It's not a Kung Fu movie, all right? You get into something, you should learn to end it fast and get out of there, okay? What else? I think that's about it, really. Another key element that I do every day is train the mind. Meditation is really important. I did a post recently on my website about the benefits of meditation, why it's important. You need to train the mind, okay? Fighting situation, any fighting situation is only 10% physical technique, 90% mental. Okay, so meditation is really one of the big keys to making your Kung Fu move to a high level. So, not only will it make your Kung Fu better, it will also change your life, make your life more peaceful, more balanced, more calm, okay? When you learn to control the mind and learn how it works. So, these are the things that I think is important. Okay, training every day, okay? Even before, when I was a contractor, before I was teaching for a living, even I work on the job 8-10 hours, I still find time for my own training, 2-3 hours a day. Now that I'm teaching for a living, training makes up a majority of my time, aside from teaching, okay? So also about training and teaching, when you're teaching, you should be teaching, okay? The focus is on the student, not on your own training, okay? So you can get in there and do Chi-sao with your students and all the rest, okay? But you should, when you're teaching, when it's teaching time, you should be focusing on the student and what they're doing and helping them to get better, not making yourself better. Your training should be separate. So maybe you have some senior students that are very good and you can get together and Chi-sao with them, or your Kung Fu brothers or something like that. You can get together and and do training aside from teaching. So when you're teaching, teach. When you're training yourself, train yourself. But the two should be separate. Okay. So a lot of people, they get into their class with their students and they train right along with them. You know. But when you're doing that, you can't focus on the student and trying to understand and see what they need to be doing to make them better. So your focus is on the student, not on you when you're teaching. Okay. So I think that covers just about everything. If you have any questions or comments, then feel free. Interesting and constructive comments, okay, not stupid ones, okay, I'm not interested in that, all right, if you're one of these guys that goes on YouTube and just blah, 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 okay, go somewhere else, I'm not interested, all right, go bother somebody else, because I'm not even going to pay attention, I'm not even going to post them up, all right, if you have something constructive to say, then I am interested in constructive conversation, all right, but if you have nothing important to say, or just stupid comment, don't even bother. Okay? So I think that's about it. Maybe I'll add something later if I think of something else that's important. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next upcoming video. Thanks.